Cody Khan's Good Can't Be Anything Else on Impact's 103 FM brings us to today's wellness feature. Alec Averinos is not in studio alone. He's actually brought a teammate, a gym mate, a friend that exercises with him also on a regular basis, Rosemary Brink. How are you, Rosemary? Great to have you in.
Thank you so much.
I know that it's quite a nice interview to do because this is something that Alex wanted to do, just to bring in a different aspect to our discussions. I mean, we talk about starting from where you're at and then getting stronger, getting faster, and that. So now it's just also nice to see somebody that has walked that journey over the last couple of years and can, I guess you can say, testify that what is being said is actually real. And it can be done. It's not just what you just say just for the sake of saying. So just to give our listeners a bit of a background, you started running about 9 years ago. How did your running journey start?
So I have an uncle that's done Comrades a couple of times. He was quite a decent runner, and it was always a dream to one day run the Comrades. And you sit and you watch the TV and you're up at 4 a.m. watching it, and it becomes a dream. And joined a running club, and I was determined to get this done. And then it was quite funny. I said at the one race, it was actually at Phobians. One girl had a Comrades cap on. I said, I want one of those. She was Bob the next year. I entered and I got my cap. So I think it was always a dream. And I think if you put something to mind, you can actually get it done. But as they say, it humbles you. It was the most amazing experience, the first one. You think you'll never do it again at that moment, but you come back year and year again. And that's why you do it.
Well, your journey started, like we said, at 38, and you definitely were one of those people that didn't start running just for the sake of running. You started running because you wanted to have a goal in mind. And I think a goal is so important. Alec, you can weigh in on this also, to have that goal. And we'll talk about the journey and how that goal changed. Well, the goal stayed the same, but how the training of that changed. But important to have a goal first.
Yeah, so I mean, if we look at Rose's journey, she started at 38, and within 2 years she was running Comrades. So, she didn't immediately get there. She had to work her way up to it. But it's always nice to have that stretch goal that you're aiming for. And make no mistake, Comrades is most certainly a worthy challenge to set yourself. But I think just to set the scene a little bit, Rose is 47 years old. She weighs between 44 and 46 kilos. So she's
a real runner.
Yeah.
A real running build.
Tiny. And so she, over the years, she's done Comrades again and again. And then she started adding in the strength training with us at Jokes Aside. And I just wanted to elaborate a little bit around why she felt she needed to add in strength training, and then what difference that has made to her, and how that helped her to run her best time ever and perform her best. This year she finished in 8:46. So she was running at under 6 minutes a K for the full 90 Ks. A lot of people can't do a 10K at that pace. So, it's a very, very worthy achievement. And I think the idea here is just to inspire people on what can be done, and also to get across the understanding and the importance of cross-training and strength training to actually help you become a more well-rounded, better balanced athlete.
Exactly. And Rosemary, before you answer that, I mean, you've done 6 Comrades marathons this year. Doing a 8:46, your best time, is really good going. And I'm guessing let's do a comparison. What your regime, your training regime was for your first Comrades compared to how you changed things up for your most recent Comrades in 2022.
I think as the first one, you go in as a total novice. All you got to do is run. But it's actually not. You can't just run, because you actually run yourself into injury. And if you're not structured, you're also going to hurt yourself as well. So over the 6, I've changed everything fundamentally, from just running, getting a coach, listening to people. And the big difference this year, obviously COVID had a massive impact with us as well. But the strength training and doing something slightly different was also key. So I never did any of the core training and those types of components, which was critical. And I do think that it played a difference because it worked on things like just your strength in terms of the heels. I'm not a heels runner. People often joke to say that when they see me at a run, I'll be the first person that'll walk up a hill. Comrades, this year I was determined, not walking up the hill. So I really worked on how you can actually make sure that your form is correct as well. I think the one thing as a runner, when you're tired, you like slouch, your shoulders come over. But with all the work that you've done on your core and your back and those types of things, and all those deadlifts and those horrible tire pickups and those types of things, the difference is you stand differently, so you breathe differently, so you're not as tired. So I think my journey's been from going in as a total novice, just running, to actually listening to the people around you and being more structured and focusing on build your strength all around, not just on one muscle group, because it might be there for a year or two, but it's not going to sustain you throughout the whole journey as well. And actually add in some fun. You get tired of doing the same thing. So it is actually quite nice from, I think, just a strength perspective. It gives you something different as well. And if you have a look at some runners, their form is quite weird because you've got these really strong legs, but they don't look like sports people. Where if you have a look at a triathlete or somebody that's done a lot of core training and stuff, they actually look balanced. They don't look out of place and those types of things. And I think that's where a lot of the stronger runners, and if you see all our top runners that come in at Comrades, they do look different. They've got there's a form in them from that perspective. So.
What was the major differences that you felt during the race and after the race with your recovery, and what do you attribute that to?
So I think during the race, I wasn't as tired and I had the strength on some of the components, but I do think that comes to posture as well. If you're breathing correctly and you've got that strength in your core and those types of things, that's where the difference comes in. And my recovery this year, the down is always hard. It hurts your legs in certain places, but that's the only place that I was sore. And I don't think you can train for quads being sore after a couple of kilometers, but the rest of the body was actually fine. So recovery was much quicker. I was very keen to start running like 2 or 3 days later, but you listen to people that say you need to give your body a bit of a break. But we started slowly again, and it's actually fine. So,
being a runner for an event like Comrades Marathon, you need to have quite a set schedule. You need to make sure that you're getting exactly what you need into your training, that is, be it from the amount of kilometers that you are doing during the week, the amount of strength training that you are doing. How do you balance that and make sure that you are getting enough running time on the road as well as enough core and strength training done also?
So I have got a coach that actually helped us as well. So I think the nice thing is having a structured program. You get somebody else to do the thinking for you, who's got the science behind it. What I did try and do is you've obviously got to get a certain number of kilometers in, which was morning training and actually having some support around you, but also fitting in at least one session of strength a week and doing something else from a cardio perspective as well. I think that one thing I've got to work on now is the stretching. I say runners don't stretch, which I know they don't, and improving on nutrition and stuff. But I do think with also increasing some of the strength components, it's what you've got to do. So you can do your strength like in the afternoon and your more cardio stuff in the morning. And that worked for me. And I made the time for those specific items.
This strength training and functional training, it's not just a benefit for your race for that big day at Comrades Marathon. It's beneficial for you on a daily basis.
I mean, as I was saying to Alec before we actually started this discussion, was one of the reasons I really joined was during COVID, we were all locked up in our houses and we sat for hours a day working IT. So you sit behind your machine all the time and you get sore and all that type of stuff. So I think the functional training, it works different muscle groups in your body as well. Never in my life did I dream I'd be climbing up ropes and picking up tires and that type of stuff. But using those types of things around you, you don't feel like you're doing gym work. Going to the gym is like the same monotonous thing the whole time. Here it's outside, you're doing something different. And without realizing it, you're actually working on different muscles that you need the entire time. And from things to how you sit in a car, how you sit behind a desk, how you walk, how you pick up things, all of that type of stuff has changed just from building up different muscles and stuff like that. And I think if you have coaches that work with you, that know the stuff, they know exactly, pick up this thing in a specific way, you're standing wrong from this perspective, this is how you need to do the following things. And that's where I think it's really important to have proper people helping you, not just don't follow a video because no one's watching you in terms of giving you that guidance and stuff like that.
So that is probably why you also started Worth the Jokes Aside, because of them knowing what they are doing, and they obviously have the equipment that you need. I mean, you can't just go and buy 80 kilogram but whatever things, you know, I mean, you don't have the space for it also. And besides the variety that this training has brought for you, it's also brought a sense of community as well.
Yeah. I mean, where can you go to where you can have anything between 1 to 3 trainers working directly with you, but participating as well? I think the mix of people makes it fun because we're from all walks of life, and it's men and women, and everyone helps each other. And it's people I never would have come across in any other way, but I so enjoy going to my class. It's really something fun, and we've built up a different kind of camaraderie. So I think from that class, it's great. Any sport that you do, if you want to do it on your own, you're missing out on kind of like the people side about it and stuff as well. And any big event it's the people that give you the energy. And I do find that if I went to the gym and I had to do some of those things, I would do it in 5 minutes and leave. But here I stay for an hour, and we stay afterwards, and we chat, and we all help each other. And you don't feel like we've all got different strengths and things like that. There's one lady that joined the class just before me, and I thought, oh, how can she beat us? She's stronger than all of us now, and she's much older than us. And she's one of my like true heroes, because I see her doing things, and I'm like, oh, I hope I can do that one day too. So.
Yeah, I think I just want to pick up on a point. So, you know, if you look at Rose's journey, she was training for performance. And we've had a chat before where we actually grade how you're supposed to train. First for health, then for your mobility and flexibility, then strength. And only after that do you start training for performance. And then ultimately your physique is supposed to be a byproduct. So unless you're doing bodybuilding as a sport, you know, you shouldn't really be training for physique. You should be training for a goal, and your physique ends up being a byproduct of that. So if I look at Rose, she was training for sport-specific performance, and then she took a step backwards, if I can put it that way, and started right back at the beginning to actually improve her strength, her flexibility, and her general health. And by default, that has made a difference to her performance. So she didn't back off on her sport-specific performance training. She just added in an additional element, which was the strength training and the functional side of it. And yes, it's great to be part of a group training environment because it's motivating. So, you know, I just want to also say that, you know, you can do this, you can do a lot of the stuff yourself, but it is nicer and it is beneficial, especially if you're feeling out of your comfort zone. So I'll give you an example. One of the old toppies that trained with me, the first time he ever had anything to do with weights, he was already deep in his 60s. So, you know, you don't want to experiment and end up injuring yourself at that age, but you also know that you need to do it. And I mean, the improvement is tremendous. So I want to encourage people that regardless of your age, you can make those changes, and that whatever you do is beneficial. I actually found a great saying the other day. I just want to pick it up here. It says, whatever you don't do today, you're even less likely to do tomorrow. So, you know, I think the point that we're wanting to make is get off your butt and get started. Do something proactive about getting and improving your health, and you can do it.
Thank you so much, Alec. I'd like Rosemary to end on a note where exercise is not discriminatory. It's not about your gender. It's not about your size, your weight. It's not about your age, nothing like that. For the lady that is petite, that is in her late 30s, early 40s, or maybe even late 50s, what doesn't really matter. What is your word of encouragement to them? I mean, you went to start off with strength training, probably feeling very daunting, and now, like you say, you spend extra time after the session just hanging out with people and just enjoying the session. So how do you encourage that person that just wants to get started but doesn't know how to and not feeling confident enough to do that?
I think sports people, especially if they're not the top people, no one judges you, and you're actually there to help one another. So the first thing you must do is actually find a group of people and just get started. Join a club, join some of these outdoor things. A gym is always a good thing, but you're not going to get the personal thing. Rather go to somebody that can actually help you and you're working within a team. Don't do it on your own, because you actually lose the benefit of sport then. I get my energy from people. I really enjoy it, and I do think that any event, the best thing is the journey there. Doing the event is actually, it's like just you get the medal at the end, but the whole thing is the journey there and what you go through and who you actually meet. So if you don't participate, you're actually losing out. And COVID really, it made us lose out on a lot of stuff, and now we've got to make up for those specific things. So I think my word of advice is find something, go and do a park run, go and join something. As soon as you start getting into it, the first couple of days, you're not going to feel great, but give it a week or two and you'll want to go back for more.
Thank you so much for being in studio, Rosemary Brink and Alec Averinos. It's great to have you in the weekly feature of Wellness. We'll have you back next week again.